Welcome to New Awakenings with Edgar Casey's A.R.E. We're together through some beautiful conversations. We will go on amazing journeys of discovery that might change the way you think about things and could just change your life.
Well, our guest today is a psychic, a spiritual teacher, a public speaker, and a blogger, but she's also a published author and the co-author of multiple books whose focus of studies is the mystic's journey to spiritual maturity. When she's not traveling the world in her free time as a guest psychic and teacher, she also reads auras. Not exactly the way you might think. Here to tell us all about that is Cindy Griffith. Cindy, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we are thrilled, but first of all, spiritual maturity, maybe we should leave. You got the wrong audience here. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm hoping that she'll drag us kicking and screaming into maturity.
Well, that, yes, you've got your work cut out for you.
Spiritual maturity is just joy and being able to be in a place of bliss. So maybe you are there.
Or maybe you can get us there.
There's hope for us yet.
Different podcast.
So let's level set. First and foremost, let's define what an aura is.
Well, an aura, different people will see it different ways. An aura, many people think of as what you get when you go into a store and you get your aura picture, which I love and I get done. And the realization of an aura, though, is it is a moment, it captures a moment of time, mostly having to do with your emotional outlook, your emotional body. So if on the way over here you had a really good conversation and you were really feeling it and you went and got your aura picture, it'd be real pretty. But if you got cut off by a tourist on Atlantic Avenue and maybe you had a little disagreement, your aura, and you came and you got your aura picture, it would look kind of not so pretty.
Okay, so don't go get my aura taken right now.
Yeah, so
Or
get
like
auras.
most of the time.
Or you were saying you have an issue with your foot. If you're in pain, that's going to show up in your aura because it's in your emotional body. And so the aura takes a picture of your emotional body. Now, that is the aura picture that Carillion photography does. That's what you get in the store. If you're psychically looking at your aura, you have the capability, you may not be using, but you have the capability to look at the aura in a much more broader context. Casey said that in the aura, everything is in the aura, your past lives, anything in the Akashic record can be found in the aura. And so when you're looking at that aura, then you're looking at a much more broader picture of, I would say, your energetic blueprint that you carry through this lifetime.
Wow.
Okay.
So your auras can change, like you're talking about
Your aura
the traffic.
absolutely changes.
So I just had this thought when you were telling me this. I wonder what the aura of a newborn baby would look like.
Well, I would imagine it would be very pure colors. The aura is not just one color, but I would imagine a baby's aura would be very pure colors. There wouldn't be a lot of muddiness in it. And also it would probably be closer to the original blueprint. In other words, when I get my aura picture taken, bad day, good day, whatever, when I get that Carillion photography done, it very often has hues of blue. Blue is my, I would say, primary aura color. That also changes over time. But if I'm teaching, or I'm up here and I go and I'm going to get my aura picture taken, it's going to have yellow in it because then I'm in teacher mode, I'm in intellectual mode, and it's going to carry that yellow. But my primary colors are blue, a little bit of purple, used to be a little bit of green, but I'm moving a little bit differently.
So then I assume that your primary colors, when you go to see someone and say, oh, your aura is really blue or something like that, that's what they're seeing.
They're probably seeing your primary color.
Okay.
But if you want to know what your primary color is, probably go into your wardrobe, not the one that your mother told you was best or the one that you feel is the most slimming or whatever, but go to your favorite shirt or your favorite underwear or your favorite whatever, the one that color. You're probably going to find that that's in tune with your primary aura color.
Uh-oh.
My soul is black.
Well, black is a great color because black is the kind of a very protective color, but black is also a color that is saying, don't judge me by my color. right? You know, like I am not going to give you that insight into my energy.
Mysterious.
Very
I am,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
an enigma.
Obstinate.
Yeah, but it's also a fashion statement,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's true. And slimming.
And slimming, right? So sometimes our colors are our societal influence color, you know. So the wardrobe doesn't always work, but there's probably maybe something you wear on the inside, like if you have a favorite. That's why I tease with the underwear or the brassiere, you know, if you have a favorite color or favorite color sheets.
What color is Target? No, I'm kidding.
Right. Red and white, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you get your aura's read, and you know people will talk to you about it. But can you read your own aura?
I think the best way to read the aura is by the colors you feel most, personally, the colors you feel most calm and present with. I find just like it's very hard to read yourself psychically, it would be hard to read your own aura, but absolutely you can, just like you can read yourself. But I think it's much more accurate to have someone else do it.
Right. It's an interesting story. We actually came here to the A.R.E. and got our aura photography done, the Griffith photography.
I was just going to mention that.
Aha.
You read my mind.
Well, it goes right along with what I'm about to say.
Oh.
So I went first, and they showed us the picture, the auras, and it was all these different colors and all that kind of stuff. Karen went after that, and when they showed the picture, we almost fell off our tree because it was almost exactly the same colors, same places, same everything. So how does that happen? Now we've been together for
A long time.
a couple of years, and so I would assume that couples and things, that people who spend a lot of time together, maybe their auras tend to.
Well, you know, they
synchronize?
tease couple stars to look like each other. You know,
Uh-oh.
you're surrounding yourself with the same vibrations. You have the same vibration in your home. But also, I feel very often like energy attracts like energy, or at least non-discordant, right? So you are probably not going to be attracted to someone that is totally focused in a different chakra, right? You know, there's going to be a resonance. That's what's going to attract you.
Okay.
I find that I also teach tarot numerology, and it's very funny how people tend to sit. They don't know each other. It's a room, you know, we have a workshop here. It's a room full of people, but people will tend to sit next to people who are their similar number or compatible number.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Because people, you know, people like to think that an aura is a reflection of their soul, is who they are, right? That it's part of who they are.
Not the one that you see, that you get in the Carillion.
In the Carillion, right.
Yeah, that's
right.
more of a reflection of it. Well, it has baseline, right? It has baseline of your soul vibration, but it's going to be more your emotional energy at the time. Now, if you are even keeled and you're the same emotion, then yeah, that's going to be a similar thing. And again, like I was teaching psychic development in a long course. It was over maybe 3 months. And what I did is I had a aura photographer come in, do the aura picture in the beginning, and then do the aura picture at the end of the three months or whatever it was. And there was shift. But what I did to ensure that there was a little shift, I cheated a little. We did a fabulous meditation before we got that last aura picture
I see.
taken. And so everybody was looking just excellent. But again, you could see the key. Some people had real key changes.
Right. Well, thank you for your honesty.
Yes. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow, but that kind of leads me back to my thought about that newborn baby. Not in a different sense, not in the purity of the aura, but just that amount of emotion. That's got to be a high impact moment when you leave the womb and all of a sudden, bam, you're out there. I wonder if do auras change in size or just color? Like just
Well, auras absolutely change in size. Psychics tend to have a really big aura. Channelers tend to, because I do both, their aura will be collapsed. If someone's been dealing with a lot of physical, mental, emotional abuse, or just, you know, the coworker from Hades, they will tend to have a smaller aura. A larger aura is often empaths. have a larger aura because they exist by feeling the room, getting the temperature of the situation. And in that way, you need a large aura. The smaller aura is more protective, right? So one of the things that I tell people, especially empaths, is if you're going into a large space, consciously shrink your aura. You don't want to stay that way because it's unhealthy, but consciously shrink your aura. Or if you're having a conversation with a difficult person, you don't need to be mucking about in their aura, right? Pull back and imagine your aura like an egg and pull it in. But again, you don't want to live that way because you get your energy, your information, everything through this broader aura, right? Not the Carillion aura, but the broader aura. And there's nothing wrong with the Carillion aura. I'm just differentiating between different ways. Psychically, we tend to read the energetic system, which would consist of 7 outer bodies, like we were speaking before we started about the etheric body. That's the gray that most people see.
We're going to talk about that in a second, but first, empath, please get your aura away from me.
I actually had someone do that to me once. They were like, "Get out of my space. It feels like you're sitting in my lap." And I,
Wow.
oops. Yeah.
Well, then let's talk about the ethereal aura that you mentioned. We were talking before we started recording about this. And there was a time where I was studying quite extensively, and my guru at the time, my teacher, I told him, I think I'm seeing your aura. And he goes, really? Okay, well, tell me what happens now. And he just closed his eyes, and as I'm watching him, I saw his gray outline just shoot up. And I went, whoa! And he goes, oh, yep, you're seeing it. So, since then, now I had forgotten. Recently, I remembered, oh my gosh, that's right, this happened. And then I started seeing the outlines again. I'm seeing yours right now, for example. But, like I told Karen, it's not, I don't see a color, right? I need to intuitively say, oh, I feel blue, I feel green, I feel whatever. But what I see is your etheric aura, I guess, right? So what is the difference between your aura and your and the gray?
If you have 7 outer bodies, the first one is the etheric body, the emotional body. That's the one that people think of as the aura. Then you have your lower mental, your higher mental, et cetera, and so forth. The etheric body is the one that's connected to your energy field, and that's why it's gray, as you say. It's when most people can see. If you put people along a wall, especially a white wall or a certain colored wall, you'll see that. The fun thing to do is when you're watching speakers speak at a conference to watch their etheric body, and every once in a while you'll see other gray, not gray like alien gray, but gray, you'll see other, their guides and stuff, because you'll see this like extra body over there. But anyway, but you can see it grow. But this is also why when you're ill, you get gray, because what you're doing is you're pulling in, you're so low on energy, you're pulling in your etheric body to get more energy. The thicker the etheric body, it's usually about 2 inches or so, the thicker the etheric body is, the healthier you are, the more energy you have. The thinner, the less energy. But that's why people get gray. What your guru probably did was go a little out of body or consciously shoot his energy upward.
That's what I mentioned he did.
Yeah. And one of the things that my husband loves to do when he sees babies, because babies really see your aura and whether it's your etheric or your regular, he loves to shoot sparks out of his head. And all of a sudden you watch the baby do just what you did, like this, and it's just the most fun thing. But he does it energetic. I try to do it. I'm not as good as he is, but or to make your aura really big and bright. And basically doing that, think happy thoughts, imagine golden light, imagine whatever, white light, whatever you use, and just, shine your light, basically. But little kids see it.
Wow. I can imagine. They're so much closer to the what you call the veil or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and until they're 7, the top of their head hasn't hardened, and so there's still a lot more openness to it. It's one of the reasons the priests used to, or the monks used to shave the top of their head, was so that there was no blockage of between them and spirit.
That puts a whole
makes a lot of sense.
Puts a whole new spin on hard-headed.
Yeah.
It actually does.
It does.
Yes.
It actually
Yes.
does. Wow.
You seem surprised. I actually had a good thought.
Well, now I want to wonder because they would shave their heads, but then they would sometimes wear those little hats. I'm like, well, that kind of defeats
Well,
the purpose of the shaving of the head.
that closes it.
It
You know
protects
what I
it,
mean?
right?
Yeah.
Protects them from
So
it.
we talk about auras and colors all the time, and your aura is yellow or red. What do the colors mean? Can you give us just kind of like a breakdown of the different
Well,
colors?
one of the things is if you're psychically perceiving it, it's going to be a very personal interpretation like dreams.
Oh, okay.
But there are some, and that are very, I want to say, generic, and they go by the chakra colors, right? So the red is going to be grounded and physical focused, right? It's attached to the physical body, the first chakra. The second chakra is orange. It's going to be very sexuality, sociability, and so forth. Then you're going to yellow. Those are your people that are either intellectual, because it's associated with the mental body, or power, right? So each chakra is associated to an outer body. It's associated with the physical body. Green, heart-centered. The healers of the world are going to be green. The communicators are going to be a light blue. The psychics are going to be a deep blue. The spiritual connected people are going to be violet, purple. The very spiritual are white. My husband had it. I talk a lot about him, but he had a near-death experience.
Oh, wow.
And then he had kind of relived his near-death experience without dying a second time, and but had this huge experience. And he came back and he got his aura picture taken, and it was white. So white is a very high vibration. But your aura is never going to be just one color. I mean, well, that time it was all white. But anyway,
Typically it won't
yeah.
be.
And I've had a white aura. A white aura isn't like, oh, you have a white aura. But it's where you are. But remember, it's momentary. And so you have that beautiful blue purple aura. You're like, oh, I'm really spiritual. And then somebody cuts you off in traffic.
It turns black immediately, right?
It's gone. More likely, on a real thing, more likely it's going to be muddied. So if you're a predominantly blue person, purple person, whatever, and you have that, it's not necessarily going to, unless you get angry, you might, or you get in an accident, or you're in pain, you might have red. My husband is disabled. He has red in his aura a lot. And he's not an angry person, but he's in pain. But more likely it's going to be muddied.
Got it. No. Can anyone learn to read auras, or is this something you're born with?
No, anybody can. It's a process. What will block you from being able to see auras is your lack of imagination. So you, psychic, anything intuitive, it's imagination is the doorway to your intuition. So if you're unwilling to say, oh, I don't know if that's right, I'm just going to go with it,
Right.
You're probably going to be unwilling to do any psychic work, right? It's imperative to be able to allow yourself to go into that imagination stage. It's similar with past life regression. At first you're going to think, oh, I'm making this stuff up,
Yeah.
So how
You've
do
got to
you
let
know?
it go.
How do you discern between I'm making this stuff up and your aura is actually really blue?
Well, validation. Oh, well, blue for me is someone who's very intuitive. Oh, yes, I'm intuitive. Well, everybody says that, but,
Right. Oh, not everybody.
Not everybody. All right, well, you know what I mean. Yeah, so it's validation, and then experience, over years.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I've been doing psychic work for 32 or plus years. No, 33, I'm 63. I keep forgetting. I got older. And there's still times where I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm making this stuff up. But then you have someone go, and
Right.
yeah.
You
Right.
realize you're not.
Yeah.
So I want to get back real quickly, just for a moment, to the colors. You said that
So colors, yes.
So the Carillion is that the photographs, and you can see all the different colors. But you said that when you look at auras psychically, it's your interpretation.
Yeah.
So will those colors match, or
They will not. So if you do, what I do, they're called soul energy maps, right? And so I go psychically and I look at the aura, and not only do I get colors, I get symbols and so forth. And there's certain colors, like pink and green are both the heart chakra, right? So they're both going to be heart-centered, You know, but there's only so much times you can say, well, you're heart centered. But pink tends to be more empathic. Pink tends to be more sometimes codependent. So, you know, there's different things. I love it. Casey says some color, is it maroon? I brought it with me. But anyway, I think it's one of them, is immature, and I think it's maroon, or one of those, mauve. Can be dangerously immature.
Oh,
so,
boy.
you know, like, but that's a personal interpretation, right? So it's like dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize the colors got that specific. Like, mauve is a very specific color.
Oh my
I like
gosh, when I
chartreuse
started
and
doing soul
cinnamon.
energy maps, I had to go to Michael's and like I would be like, I haven't seen that color before, and I didn't have it. And I am like, so I had to like take 3 different colors and bring them together. So it would be a trip to Michael's. So I cannot tell you how many colored pencils I have with how many shades of
I was
aqua.
going to say, they've got the 84 color crayon boxes now.
I know. Well,
whatever it
it's
is.
not enough.
It's
It's not enough. So yeah. So
Okay,
yes, that
that's
there are
just-
shades, and those shades. This is where you're going to get your psychic interpretation, though. Those shades are definitely different. Like to me, Caribbean blue. That is a laid-back person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caribbean blue. You know, things like that.
So there are 50 shades of mauve.
Yeah, like right, like, but like you're wearing amber. Amber is a different color than sunny yellow, right? So amber is going to have a different vibration, because you may find that you're attracted to amber, but you may not be attracted to sunny yellow, right? Like it's a different feel. Just like crystals, and I do crystals the same way by the chakra colors, but just like crystals you could have 2 pink crystals and they're going to have a different vibe, right? So 2 pinks, they psychically may have a different vibe.
I'm super curious. Can you see our auras right now?
Let me focus.
Really curious.
All right. Well, first of all, you have an amazing, Karen, you have amazing combination of purple and yellow. Now, the yellow could be because you're drawing yellow out of your aura by wearing the amber, but it also could be because people don't realize it. I've done podcasts before, I've done interviews before. It takes a lot of mental capitulation. You know, there's a lot of mental going on. So that could be why yellow is so prominent. But I would say your colors, your main colors are light blue, purple with yellow. And your light blue is a stream. It's the pictures, right? So your light blue comes through a stream. And so that to me often shows a stream of consciousness. So in other words, you may not be thinking of something that all of a sudden, boom, you know, there it comes and out of your mouth, right? So you're
Yeah.
probably more a channeler of information than you are a conscious mind. Let me think about that. How do I word that? It's just like, oh, I wasn't thinking that before, but that works, and out it goes, right? You come up with a much more dark blue, which I would say is that psychic, but you also have the green, and it radiates out your heart. So when people meet you, they're not intimidated by the fact that you can read them, because they know that you're heart-centered, you come from your heart, and that's where you focus. Now, it does show that with your foot, because the red is running up to your hip, you have to be very careful for sciatica. So you also can read medical through reading the aura, because there's a line going from your foot to your hip. And so just realize, maybe chiropractic or whatever you feel. I don't do medical advice, it's against the law.
Of course.
Right.
But that you may find that making sure that you get an alignment.
Well,
through
it's
this.
interesting because I am doing physical therapy now. For those at home who don't know, I actually fractured my fibula when I was out on vacation, and I'm wearing a brace right now, which is why I'm wearing the sneakers, just so you're aware. But I'm in physical therapy now, and there are not just doing exercises with the ankle, but they're actually doing exercises all the way up the leg, including the hip.
Yeah, well,
So-
that's very good for that. That's very good for that. So the other thing for you, it shows that spirit puts you in situations that, and then gives you the information in a burst of a download, right? Hers flows through. She's got a stream. You have a white, like, sparkly puff out the top of your head. And so, but it's not there all the time. It's there when spirit puts you in a place where you need to know everything right immediately and you get a burst. It's different than the stream. Yours is more gentle, yours is more, 2x4 on the head.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Oh, wow.
We use that analogy all the time. I need that 2x4 to the head.
Well, that's how spirit gives it to you, whereas you're a stream. So not only are auras, for me, and how I teach it, is not only is it colors, but it's symbols. And and that's kind of the soul energy map and I draw it out for people, and I'm a terrible artist, so it's quite childish.
It's interesting because I've been told before yellow, and I don't really know exactly what that means, but I've been told. But my favorite color ever since I was this big is purple.
Yeah.
So what is purple?
Well, purple is a high spiritual intent, right? It's a higher vibration. The yellow, people shouldn't get in your way, right? You're not going to stop. Yellow is a push through. Yellow is also, though, very intellectual, and so probably you've always been drawn to learning and things like that. But also, the yellow is a power because it's the solar plexus, and so it just shows a strong, healthy, not unhealthy. It doesn't feel unhealthy to me, but a strong, healthy solar plexus.
So, someone who has 2 majors in college, 2 degrees in different, completely
There you
different
go.
faculties,
Yes.
engineering and art, it just kind of shows that.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just scratching the surface on
know.
auras. So if someone wanted to learn more about auras, or maybe reach out to you for a reading, or because you do a lot of other things as well, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Well, cindygriffith.com. Nice and simple.
Okay.
But just one little tidbit before we go.
Yes.
The only book, because we're at the Casey Center, the only book that Edgar Casey actually wrote was a pamphlet on auras and what the aura colors mean.
Interesting.
And there is a book by Kevin Tedeschi and the woman, I can never remember her name, but it's about auras, and they've included that pamphlet because it's hard to get. I have one. I found one in the library in the sales section. I was like, oh my gosh, I was like,
So wait,
gold.
a library usually you have to return. So how
Well,
did you
this was, they also sell things. But yes, it's
Sales.
actually, there's a lot of books that says it by Edgar Casey, but what it is those are the readings.
Right.
Right. But the book by Kevin and oh God, I can't remember her name. That's embarrassing. But anyway, it's a very good book on reading auras. She's really good at it. But she teaches how to read with the eyes. I just can't do it. Doesn't work for me.
Right. Well, whether you can read with your eyes or psychically, either way, it's a huge, incredible skill or tool, I should say, that people can use to help them navigate their lives and their interactions with other people. So I would urge everyone to reach out to Cindy if you feel that there is a draw, a resonance with
And as you can see, she is just such a welcoming person to talk to. So I would love to talk to you more. I know we're kind of short on time, sadly, but
Yeah. And if you want to see the book, of course, you can always find it here, the Edgar Casey A.R.E. And we will add the link in the show notes so you can just reach out to Cindy without too much of a hassle. Thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate it. We learned a lot
Thank you very
today.
much. Oh.
That does it for this episode of New Awakenings with Edgar Casey's A.R.E. If you missed any part of this or any of our other interviews, of course, you can always find those at edgarcasey.org/resources. Now, until next time, we'll see you on New Awakenings of Edgar Casey's A.R.E.